morning, Forerunner Church. We are here with the Bickles and Morgan and I, and these are strange times.
Where are you here at?
We are in your home.
That's right.
We love that you're here in our home.
Yes, it's so good to be here. We're obviously observing some social distancing, and just so all of our viewers, just so all of our viewers out there know, there are only 10 people. There are less than 10 people in this home.
We're taking this very seriously. It really is serious.
That's right.
Because everyone knows you've heard it 500 times already, but you can carry it and someone get touched with it and their life get changed negatively. Mm-hmm. And we're like, oh, we didn't mean to, and that sorry will mean nothing to them when you say that.
Yeah, we're trying to take many measures to protect one another, and then just our own responsibility of protecting our neighbors and our city and wanting to comply with governing officials. We're going to talk about that a little bit this morning as well. But we just want to welcome you and just let you know our heart is torn. It is so different doing so many of these things online rather than being in person, getting to lay hands on one another, pray for one another. And these are just unusual times that we're in. I mean, Diane, have you been in anything like this before?
Never seen anything like it before.
Yeah, it is just so strange what
How's
we're
that
going through
word
together.
Go, distance makes the heart grow fonder? Is that the right word?
Absent.
Oh, absence.
Absence. Yeah,
Well, social distance. I'll make it relevant today.
Yeah.
Absence. And so we're going to miss being together, and then when we're together, it's going to be,
Yeah.
So you were sharing some things the other day out of 1 Peter 2, and I wanted you to share some of those things here with us. We're obviously in this unique season. Governing authorities are asking us to adhere to certain limitations and restrictions, and the Lord woke you up and was speaking to you out of 1 Peter 2, and I want to read just a part of that and then have us just make some comments on that. 1 Peter 2 to me is a really critical passage for us. And I think
I want to do something before you do that.
Absolutely.
I want to let everybody know that this is our, last Sunday I gave not a fun, but kind of an intense, long perspective. Thank you, perspective. And it's our first 10 a.m., online service. And I just wanted everyone to know last week, this isn't that what we're going to do. And this is not that either. We're doing a modified version of what we want to do on Sunday mornings. We want 5 or 6 or 7 different segments. We can bring cameras in homes, interaction. We want to do teaching. We want to call people to touch God and to really stir their heart and their faith and their call to holiness and relationship. But we also want to have interaction with each other. And this is not that. But our media team has been so much demand on them because we've made video after video after video in the last 10 days because we're answering this and group and that group and interfacing with them and on Zoom calls and so they just needed a little bit of break, and we're also spread apart, but we're hoping by next week we can begin the new format. This really isn't it. This is an abbreviated version. But 1 Peter chapter 2, the reason we're highlighting that is, well, number one, it's a very passage you love. That's one good reason to highlight it. But I woke up the other day with it, really stirred with it. I think it was on Friday on the March 20th or maybe 19th or 20th, something like that. I woke up wide awake with this 1 Peter 2 that's really arresting my attention. So I was very eager. I got up really early, just woke up, and that's why I started reading it. And I said, boy, this is that. The first verse 12 to 15,
let me read it so
verse 12 to 15.
Let me read it.
And you got a lot of comments, and we're all going to tease this out.
So he says, 1 Peter 2, beginning in verse 12, he says, have your conduct be honorable among the Gentiles, which he's talking about unbelievers.
Because the Gentiles are unbelievers, in the New Testament says that, yes.
That when they speak against you as evildoers, that they may, by your good works which they observe, glorify God in the day of visitation. Therefore submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake.
And it goes on to say, and even kings and governors. And so we got a king, well, a president, and a governor. And so it says that though the Gentiles, the unbelievers, call you evildoers, and many unbelievers look at believers that are really trying to walk out, Christianity at really heart level. They look at it and go, that is so weird. They don't like it at all, because they don't understand it. Mm-hmm. So they call you evil, call you false, call you delusional. But it says in that verse 12, but when they observe your good deeds, meaning towards them and towards people that they watch, that in a time of crisis, not only crisis, but that's when the good deeds are magnified, when there's a crisis. And they observe it and they go, you really are motivated differently than I thought. And you really are into things we didn't think you were into. We thought you were delusional and into yourself, into some religious thing. But that neighbor across the street, I know that you don't know them, because I know them. And I know they aren't like you, and they don't even really like you, but you gave them sacrificially some of the food you had when they didn't have any. Why did you do that? And the answer is, well, because God loves us and has been so kind to us. We just want to overflow. And it takes them a few minutes, but they go, really? Okay, once. Maybe it was an aberration. And then we keep doing good deeds. And they go, eventually, not all of them, then they start glorifying God. The people that called you evil and false go, I want to know the God that is making you happy, sacrificially giving to someone you don't know, who doesn't even like you. How does this work? How can you be happy and sacrificial and not be afraid and not even do payback to that neighbor? You're actually happy and you're giving to them. And it creates conversation. So a crisis, particularly when there's lack of food, water, there's danger, and you go out of your way to help them, and you don't even have a reason to. They're not joining your team. They're not joining your company. They're not joining your anything. You did it because they're human. That blows the mind if you do it consistently. And what a great example in a time of difficulty. Because it's not just to give them food and water, or give them some of your medicine, give them some of your gasoline. It's that for sure, but also give them your time. Like you might be in the driveway, or you might be across the street, and you're listening to them go on and on for an hour or two, and you're listening with genuineness, and they go, "Wow, you give me your time," and I can't get anyone to listen to me, and wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah.
That's really good. You know, I was in the grocery store the other day and observing just people shopping, grabbing their groceries, you know, and just an example, what this very kind guy came out and said, you know, what are you looking for? How can I help you? And he, even just to speak that, I was thinking he has to be a Christian, because peace just exuded out of him when he said that to these ladies that were kind of like trying to find their stuff real quick and get moving on. And I just thought, wow, you know, just simple ways of communicating to people in a time of crisis sets their hearts in a different trajectory and brings peace. And so
that's so good. I had a neighbor too. We were in the driveway and she just came over, and it was that similar thing. She just needed to talk. Could tell she just has her kids home all week, and she just needed to tell me what it was like at home. And now she's having to homeschool her kids on top of, she's already a teacher in public school.
I can't imagine what this is doing to moms.
Right, and she's having to do online school with the high schoolers because she's, for her job, on top of now homeschooling her own kids. And she just needed to talk, and just being the listening ear is so comforting too.
So I'll tell you what, just our community as well. Last week, we're getting reports of people having those conversations with their neighbors. It's amazing. Yes. And knocking on people's doors and just telling them, hey, we're here. If you need anything, here's my number. And people have been so blessed by that in the community, meaning not a part of the church community, just in the neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. And they are going, this really touched my heart that you went out of your way to come and talk to me. And some of the families were elderly. And so they were just really blessed by that presence. And I'm so blessed and grateful for our spiritual family that people are doing this, are going out of their way to do this. And the phrase, well, there's many phrases that stand out to me here, but one of the phrases that stands out to me is among the Gentiles, meaning among unbelievers. And when Peter was writing this, he assumed that every Christian would automatically be among unbelievers. It wasn't something that was foreign to him. And in our lives, sometimes we can get in the rut and the routine of things. Now, many that are in the marketplace have marketplace businesses and jobs. You're around unbelievers every single day. Some others not as much. But when Peter's writing this, he's writing with the exhortation, no, you're to be among the Gentiles, and they're to see the things that you do, and the way that you love, and the way that you serve and respond. And then those doors open where they begin to glorify God.
And the phrase that you got among the Gentiles, the phrase that I really is that they will observe it. And they won't even let you know they're observing it for a while. It's not a one-time deal. One-time deal really does move.
They're watching.
Right.
One-time deal.
They're watching.
You know, like some people, they have neighbors or they're in the same workplace, and it's been 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So they've watched you do it 3 times here, 2 times there. They're not even letting you know. They're not coming and patting you on the back saying, you're amazing. They're just thinking, nah, if I encourage you, you'll try to like make me religious like you. I don't want to really tell you I'm even watching. But they are.
Right.
And then they go from calling you evil to glorifying your God. That is amazing.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. And then I think it's verse 15. I'm not sure what the verse is. It says they will be silenced when they see your good deeds. 14 and 15, they're silenced.
Verse 15.
They're silenced, meaning their accusations and their complaints against you, their opinions that were so established that they were calling you evil behind your back and maybe to your face, they now are silenced. They go, I don't have an answer for why you're doing this except for the God you're claiming.
Well, I want to ask you just in relation to this, we're observing these social restrictions, the governmental limitations, and the things that are, being asked of us by our government. There's a debate happening right now, and from the last couple weeks in our nation, should we observe these governmental restrictions on our public gatherings? We're a church. We're supposed to meet together. Hebrews 10:25, don't forsake the assembling together. So why is that different? What is the context of where we, as believers, maybe we would disobey governing authorities, and then why is that different than now?
If they told us to quit preaching Jesus, or they commanded us, like in Peter's day, you have to, the employers, you have to go to the pagan feast and offer to false, well, they called them their gods. And the believer said, I'm not going to the feast, and I'm not offering to your God. They said, we're going to fire you then.
Right.
And even the governing officials put some of them in prison. So that was even government, not just... So quit preaching Jesus and go do a state function. Because if you worshipped the God in the Roman Empire, it was actually a nationalism statement. You were saying, I'm taking a stand for our nation, because the other invading nations, even in the Roman Empire, they'd be invading from other nations with other gods. Your public loyalty to the gods the Romans pointed was a nationalism statement. So they go, if you're not going to be for us when the barbarians invade us, we're going to put you in jail. So it's not they just hated Jesus. They go, we can't trust you if you're going to cave in. It's a stupid feast. Just go to it. And they go, we can't because it's more than that. There's demons behind it. They go, oh, so we're demonized? I mean, it was really a heavy thing to resist those two. Don't preach Jesus or we will beat you. They did. Of course, it was the Jewish authorities beating the apostles in Jerusalem. But it also happened in other places. And you better be nationalistic and stand for us. We would disobey that. We would disobey anything like that and take the... But when the government says, our city is not safe and we know more than you know,
right,
we're asking you to honor that. And don't make us go to all 2 million people in the Kansas City area and sit down and explain why it's dangerous because you don't buy it on the news. I'm the governor of the state. I'm the mayor of the city. I'm the whatever. We together are saying do it, and it's about safety. And it's about the goodness of the city. That's a different thing than denying Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And, I mean, the limitations that are happening, they're inconvenient. Yeah. I mean, all of our lives are being really inconvenienced by this. And so how do we walk through that? How do we walk through the inconvenience of, we want to not just do our normal lives, but we have a mission before us. We have a mission of day and night prayer and building community and loving one another. Diane, how are we carrying our hearts in the midst of this?
Yeah, I think daily, honestly, it takes God's grace every single day and just reminding ourselves and one another that, we are in this for God's glory and we are in this to love one another. And so this time, with what's happening with the pandemic, wasn't planned. We didn't expect it. We didn't get to, be fully prepared for it. And yet the Lord is with us and inviting us to step it up in terms of how we are caring for one another and the reset here right in our homes, right? Where the restaurant's shut down, there's nowhere to go, there's no one to go see. So we just get to lean into Jesus and then stay connected in all the social ways, phone calls, dropping food on the doorstep of people that
Zoom calls.
Many of our people are doing those types of things, dropping off food for people, elderly people. And so, it's a chance to prove that we love Jesus by the way we're loving one another.
So, Morgan, I got a question for you. How long have you been at IHOP?
It's been 17 years.
So how old were you came here? I'm not trying to tell about your age.
I just turned 18.
Okay, 18 years old. Okay, and then that's the real point I want to make.
Yep.
So you're 18 years old. I've seen you for 17 years. And here's what I've observed about you. Okay? You, at 17, really that long? My goodness. That's a long time. I guess we're 20 years old. I guess we really are 20. It's like, wow. And I'm not even going to ask you how long you've been here. How long? For real. Just okay, stay here. Been a lot of years. Anyway, here's what I've observed about you. You are one of the most tenacious women, 18, 22, 26, 29, 31, who loves the prayer room. Tenacious. I've watched you. There's a handful of you, but you're one of them. You will not draw back from that. Then I look at you. You're a tenacious relationship person. You're super engaged. This is high value. And then number 3, you're like a phenomenal mom. So we've got this thing happening, and all 3 of them have added challenges on you. The prayer room hurts you, not interacting. You don't just love your friends, you're really good at that, but you're constantly reaching out to outside your circle. It's like, how do you got energy to do this with 5?
No, that's really right.
5 kids,
really
and
right.
then the devotion to your family, and this puts a challenge on everything to walk it out. Give me some thoughts you're thinking.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like part of it just feels the same. It feels like we're just us and I'm me, and we just continue to do what's in our hearts to do before the Lord, and we just adjust with the parameters. So part of it is still showing up to my prayer room sets to sing in the prayer room, but now I'm staying home and we're engaging online a lot of times. With
But even the last month, I mean, how do you, I mean, your kids, not because they're your kids, but kids, they got to be frustrated with this.
Yes.
And they have to be.
They are.
They just are. And so that makes your life harder.
Yes.
And then you got to be at the prayer room. That makes it even harder because now there's things you're not able to do. But then you can't be at the prayer room, so that's harder. So I'm thinking, wow, this is intense. But you smile a lot. Is she really? She's
amazing.
I smile a lot, but I definitely have had some breakdowns.
Give me 90 seconds. Give me 90 seconds
moments.
on her.
Yeah.
Just for fun. She doesn't like this, but that's okay.
I would echo
my house.
I would echo for sure all the things that you said. I have seen Morgan. We've been married. This will be our 15th year.
Aww.
Being married together.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Married
In
15
October,
years.
yeah.
Yeah, so, we're just kind of taking it day by day, but what I've seen is that Morgan, under times of pressure, it will hit her just like it hits all of us.
Has to.
And we have times of weakness or doubt or, frustration, whatever it is, but she will always reset before the Lord. And she comes back, and we have our family meeting, we get our kids together. I want you to tell the story of getting our kids together, talking about the virus and all that stuff. But we come back together, and she is like, nope, this is who we are. This is what we do. We love Jesus. We love one another. And she fights for that over and over.
So sometimes you do it without feeling it. You know who you are. So you go, that's who I am, even if I don't feel like it right now.
That's right.
That's true. Yeah. I feel like we're in a unique season right now for Malachi 4 and just our hearts really turning toward
And
our
tell
children.
them the Malachi 4:6, because 90% a lot know, but if you go like give me
Sure.
one more sentence on Malachi 4:6.
Malachi 4 is the hearts of the fathers will turn towards the children, and then the hearts of the children will turn towards the fathers. And so I think that we're in a unique season of that, and the Lord really has given us the opportunity to draw near as families and to
it's being forced. We're
It's
always
being
doing
forced.
that.
Your family or families?
Well,
You said plural.
I think our family in particular, just your own natural family, but also as the church, to turn towards one another, or to turn your heart towards the fathers, meaning the elderly or those that are in need, those that are weaker than you, or those that have, aren't able to help themselves. And so I think by families, I mean the broader sense of family.
And what did your children do? You were talking about, you had a conversation.
Yep, so we just gathered our kids, and we've been trying to do it more often, and we're just talking about the virus. Do you even know what the virus is? And she's 8 years old. She had been sitting into the services where Dr. Kim was there.
Dr. Lim, yeah.
Dr. Lim, and she is recalling all of this information that he said, like as
She
far
starts
as numbers.
breaking down statistics and
Give
facts. and,
one or two more
well,
phrases.
we were just kind of asking the kids, like, what do you guys know of the coronavirus? Do you know what's going on? And a couple of them were like, no, not really. And then she is the middle child, and she just starts listing off facts. She's just like, well, first of all, people think it's a flu, but it's actually a virus. It's different than the flu. And she starts naming off these statistics. She's like, it's more contagious and da-da-da. And the other kids are sitting there just kind of dumbstruck, like, what are you
But there
talking
was
about?
something else she was adamant about, because you told me the story, and she was like, oh, what was it? It was a point she really hung on to, and I went, no way.
I can't remember that. But the big point was,
What was it?
we just had a value. Let's get together our family. Let's talk together. Let's pray together. It wasn't all awesome. I mean, it wasn't, the all-star kid gets all the answers right. That wasn't the point of the story. The point is, in times like this, we draw near to one another. We have conversations where I'm just asking our kids, how is this affecting you? Are you scared? Are you da-da-da? And then just took time to pray together as a family. Those are practical things that we can do. And it doesn't even have to be with your immediate family. It can be with friends. It can be with loved ones that live across the country or in another state or whatever it is. Just asking them, how is this affecting you? What are you going through right now?
We really appreciate the way that our body has been responding relationally, in prayer, all kinds of ways, but even economically, because as the attendance has gone down over the last few weeks just because of all the things going around in the community, but the financial commitment support has not, and because people's hearts are in it, and because you're a part of this family, you believe in the vision, and that means the world to us, that it's not our thing, it's our thing, and we're in it together. And I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, we want to just commend those. The Lord is touching people's hearts in our community. They're continuing to give, even in the midst of this, because they believe in what we're after.
And it's challenging right now.
It is incredibly challenging
because there's not as much money around. That's what the forecast is.
And we are aware of those challenges, and we just want to celebrate together as the body of Christ. The Lord is doing this. Day and night prayer is continuing forward. The community is continuing forward. People are being reached with the gospel. We're serving others in our community, and you get to be a part of that. We get to be a part of that. We're in this thing together, and we just want to bless you and thank you.
Online, isn't it?
It is all online on how to give. There are ways to give online. There are ways to give through your text, through your phone, that are really simple to do. And we want to encourage you to give during this time, to not shrink back in the midst of that. So God bless you. We are with you in this.
Thank you, thank you.